Hi everybody, I'm George.
And I'm Bob, we're the Shipping Goblins from Beetle and Cribs. Today, we're going to talk about the amazing Map Vault Collection. And with the Map Vault Collection, you get a bunch of gorgeous, two-sided maps, all scaled for standard minis.
Yeah, get yours now for the Map Vault Collection from Beetle and Grimm, and all the players at your table will be revved up and hyper because the only thing they'll be able to say is...
Yeah, go ahead and do it!
Zoinks!
Yeah, do it again!
Zoinks!
Hello?
Who do you think you are?
Yes, Mr. Lillard.
You're just some goblin.
Yes, sir.
You can't just go off and use my
It's your
voice
thing.
like that. I have rights.
Completely. We just thought...
Me?
Oh, okay.
I'm gonna take this right to
yes,
Beetle. Hey, Grim.
Thank you, sir.
What happened?
Matthew Lillard watches our show!
Nathan.
And we are live. Conversation can continue later. So if somebody watching Twitch can give me a nudge or a thumbs up, preferably one of the players so I can see them, that we are actually live and everyone can hear us, that'd be great. Otherwise, welcome.
I will check.
I'll ramble patiently while you do so.
We are.
Excellent, thank you, and welcome. So we are live. I am Steve. And of course, this is a sci-fi stream because not only is it Friday, but as I said, I'm Steve, and no one else will DM anything remotely sci-fi related. So you're stuck with me. We are playing this evening Starfinder, and we'll be playing the Fly Free or Die Adventure Path, which is Starfinder's latest Adventure Path 6 series. So I think the 6th one actually came out this month, which is a final chapter in the series. Obviously we're playing the first one, and tonight is our session 0, so we get to meet the players, we get to have a little bit of fun with the players, and who knows what will happen by the end of the stream.
Who knows what?
Who knows what, indeed. So welcome everyone, thank you for tuning in. As always, this stream is most thankful to Beetle and Grimm for its continued support of the channel. And
Love pugs and puddles.
Yeah, and continued support for all the things that we do, and it is many and varied. So not only thanks to their support, but thanks to our other supporters who will appear occasionally in the box below me. You'll see their adverts, and you'll also see a number of discounts and savings that you may make on their products. So thanks again to them. And of course, if you yourself would like to support us, then you can do so through the wonderful world of Twitch. You can obviously sub through the Tier 1, Tier 2 or Tier 3 programs, but if you have a Amazon Prime account, which if you order stuff off the internet you probably will, then you can use your Twitch Prime membership to sub to your favourite streamer, which we are of course hoping is us. And there are many guides on the internet that will tell you how to do it if you don't have your own 11-year-old child to do it for you.
Or one? Where is that going?
I recommend.
You're renting yours out now.
Yeah, that's come for a small fee, but it's probably still cheaper to get an Amazon Prime sub than it is getting an 11-year-old child. Anyway.
Depends where you go online.
Oh, we're going off track.
Sleep rated quickly.
I will quickly change the subject and try and remember what I was going to say next. Nope, it's gone.
What else do we do on this channel?
Of course, your support and our sponsors' support allows us to make quality programs such as this that don't get derailed in the first 5 minutes, but also the many other streams that we do. And I guess we are now on 6 days a week, because tonight we have Starfinder in our first ever episode. Tomorrow will be the second session of DM Joe's Descent into Avernus. Sunday we have Joe on again with War Badger. I think Will, you're on that stream as well, aren't you?
Yep.
Yeah, we like the War Badger name. The Badger Hammer had to go in the bin, I'm afraid. I'm glad we ditched that one.
Yeah, got hammered.
It got hammered, that's right. Monday is our painting stream, the Great British Brush Off, and if you tune in this Monday, you'll witness me winning the series.
Spoiler alert, some of us haven't seen it yet.
Let's do.
Unless
Well, I'm
Dave
definitely
changes
in
the rules
third
on me.
place. I'm definitely in third place, but I think it's going to be between Steve and Joe, really.
So yeah, that's our last episode on Monday for season 2. But don't worry, we are coming back for season 3. We are taking a little bit of a break and maybe changing the format a little bit. But more news on that to follow. But season 3 will be coming. In the meantime, on a Monday evening, we'll probably still continue to do the hangouts because Jeff, who was on with us last time, has been and bought a load of giant minis. And so we've decided to paint giants now. So I think that's the next project after the Beholders. Tuesday, of course, we have Vason from Free League. That's DM'd by L. You can see Joe on that stream too as one of the players, along with Stacey and Dane and Brain's gone. Who's the fourth player? Anyway, tune in for Vason on Tuesday. Tune in for Vason on Tuesday. Wednesday is our night off, but we will be looking to do some What's in Boxes and some interviews coming up soon, so stay tuned for those. And of course, Thursday is our ongoing Rise of Runelords campaign, which is our Pathfinder campaign. And we are nearing the end on that now as well, so we are coming to a conclusion. So stay tuned for the big epic boss battles coming soon. So,
because I need some sleep.
Yes. So with that all said, I hope I haven't forgotten anything, and I'm sure Dave will remind me if I have.
Yep. No, you're good.
Okay.
Oh,
Discord, yes, of course. So if you'd like to find out what we are doing and when we are doing it, of course, these future announcements, you can follow us on Twitter at RPG Badgers, but I recommend joining our Discord channel, and then you can become a Badger yourself, and of course, stay in touch with us on a one-to-one basis, find out news, keep up with our social promos, and of course, just reach out, ask questions, and interact. And you get to find out things like our Jasper's Game Day sessions that we did this week. So Joe was on Tuesday. Dave did an epic 4 sessions across Wednesday and Thursday, and I played this morning. It was an honour to play in that. It was a really worthy cause, and I will thank everybody that tuned into our channel that also tuned in over there as well, and for all the donations as well. This morning's session that I played in was extremely chaotic, thanks to all of the donations and all of the wild magic that went on. So, thank you to everybody that took part. It was a great time. Look forward to do that again if we get the opportunity. Okay, let's begin. So, session 0. You are currently sat in your favourite dive hangout on the lowest levels of the large edge-core freighter known as Eugenia's Grace. The bar, of course, is owned and run by everyone's favourite goblin barkeep, Skriz. You can see in the screen in front of you. Now, Skriz is a bit of a character, a bit of an infamous character, and we'll get to that in a moment. But Eugenia's Grace, it's a heavy hauling vessel. You've been transporting heavy metals and fuels in amongst the packed world area of space. Your most recent mission is to transport one of the new Lightmark freighters, the BD 514. This is fairly new technology for Edgecore. They're normally into the real heavy, massive freighters, so they carry a lot of a lot of goods between the pack worlds and near space, and obviously make a lot of coin on their heavy transport runs. But they're reaching out. They're changing their business model. These light freighters are intended to be leased out to small operators, family-run companies. They will run to about 50 to 80 tons of goods, and the owner-operators will lease those vessels from EdgeCore. So it's a low-risk, high-margin endeavour for Edge. So these vessels have been through some heavy commissioning, some real shakedown tests in the space around Absalom. And the intrepid member of your current drinking party, Cowboy, is the current test pilot for the BD514 that you are delivering. Now, he's been helping you out. You are working as maintenance crew on the Eugenia's Grace. And you've currently pulled a double shift, so 2 10-hour shifts in a row, which is a bit of an epic. And the reason for that is your erstwhile captain has decided to volunteer you, this vessel, and your crew for a mercy mission. So instead of being in the drift and accelerating towards the pack worlds beyond the diaspora to deliver the vessel to its waiting owners, you are currently in a rocket burn deceleration towards diaspora. And of course the diaspora it's a ring of meteorites just on the edge of pack space. It's formed of the destroyed remnants of 2 planetoids that were destructed during a major catastrophe many years ago, millennia ago. It's a known area of space that's prone for people who like to live on the fringes of law. There are pirates, there are miners, there are prospectors. It's a real frontiersman's life they lead out there. Now, some of those moons are as large as, some of those meteorites are as large as moons, small planets, but many of them are micrometeorites. So you've just happily pulled a double shift, replacing most of the hull shielding that have taken a lot of heavy scoring damage, and well, somebody's going to have to pay for the bill for that. But obviously your captain respects glory rather than coin. I'm sure all of this repairs the ship is going to come out whatever bonus you were going to be getting for doing this rescue mission. But for now, you've completed your shift and you're taking a well-earned rest in, as I say, your favourite dive bar, just down from the cargo hold, Scrizz's bar, also known as the Blue Goblin Bar. Scriz stands before you, the only 3 people in the bar. He polishes a glass idly, his fishbowl helmet behind him on the shelf. He reaches up and he pours another shot of whiskey for you, Vec, and hands it over. As he puts it down, he looks up at you and says, "So, Vec, what sort of cargo are you hauling this time? You know, those computer parts you flipped me a ton of last time, well, we moved those pretty quick, and if I don't mind saying so myself, it was a pretty easy mark. You know, we made some good credits off of that. What you got for me this time, fella?"
Well, to be honest, it's all a bit big. Doesn't fit in the cheeks, mate, and the drone's knackered from the 20-hour shift. Little Vex charging at the moment is savage, man.
Oh, yeah, you got to have something for me, you sucky bastard. And if you'd like to take that opportunity to describe yourself for me.
I'm a Vec Bristleback. That's a Yusoki, which is a rat person. And I am small. And I'm 75 years old, which is quite young for a Yusoki. And I'm small, I'm quite fast, and the mechanic and engineer on this ship. But I do happen to like liberating or enhanced borrowing of small, valuable objects.
So you're really telling me you've got nothing? There's nothing you can find?
Look, you can see my teeth, mate. I've got nothing in the cheeks.
So this whole rescue mission don't sit well with me. Alright, there's something peculiar about it.
Yeah,
Don't ask me what, but there's something peculiar going on. I mean, what's an old Edgecore freighter doing out this far in the diaspora anyway? I don't understand it.
Well, apparently, you're going for glory. Now, I don't know how well that spends.
Well, I can tell you how well it spends. It don't spell well at all.
No, I know, right?
Certainly don't put any money in my pocket.
No, mine neither. I'm gonna have to. If I find anything juicy, I'll let you know.
All right, well, keep your ear to the ground. I'm always looking for an opportunity,
Always.
as you know. You're quiet tonight, cowboy. How's the old ship trials going?
It's all good. I was just watching Wolf, like sitting there, and I was thinking, he's in that chair that they're shooting Star Wars. He just can't sit still. He's like, wait. How you doing, Pilgrim? I'm all good here.
I'm all right, cowboy. So, how the flight tests going? These new marks, what are they like? Are they any good?
They're not bad. They're a little bit heavy in the old hips, but I'll stream her out.
Yeah, I'm thinking about branching out into a bit of the old trading myself, you know. If old Vec here can find something worth trading, of course. But so you reckon one of them ships are worth owning then, do you?
Oh yeah. I mean, they fly like the wind.
Yeah, I've heard they're pretty tasty. Fast too. They got that new drift mark engine in them as well. Yeah, if you get some high value, small weight parts in there, you could earn yourself some coin travelling around the galaxy. Play your
They
cards right,
certainly
you do
have
well.
some horsepower. Yeah. Yes, indeed.
And why don't you take the opportunity to describe yourself, please, Dave?
I am Cowboy. I'm an intergalactic gun-tooting prehistoric Tyrannosaurus. I'm out of the ancient Old West, whatever that is. And here I am. I got my cowboy hat and everything. I've got a little picture of a little gun-tooting me. Here we go. Ooh. I'm a sight for the ladies. I'm a sight for the men. I'm a sight for anything that's got a pulse, and even those that don't. I'm good. How about you?
I'm concerned about the last part of that statement.
Don't ever limit yourself, man.
Exactly. Exactly.
Just so you know, I've only had that drone 5 years, and I bought it from new, right? So you need to wait about 11.
It's you know my little compadre there, the old drone. You know he's doing his own thing. You know what can we say? And he spits out. There is no platoon anywhere, so he just spits on the floor.
Yeah, in Scrizz's bar, there's nothing. You've barely got stools to sit on.
Yeah.
Yeah, it really doesn't
Yeah.
matter if you spit on the floor.
Well, you know what I always say: don't squat with your spurs on.
A bird like that.
Yeah. Is that in the pub?
Yeah, Scriz
It's a space
has
birdie.
any space pirate has a bird.
Hey, you got a parrot?
So Scriz steps down the bar to our last member of the drinking party. So, Your Majesty, what can I get you this evening?
Oh, just the usual. Just the usual. The same as what they're drinking. You really don't have to call me Your Majesty.
Oh, well, I feel like I do. You know, you are Calistocration royalty after all.
Yes, but let's not talk about that. That's for when I've had way too much to drink and you can't shut me up.
Right,
You know this.
that sounds like a challenge then. And he pours you 3 fingers of whiskey. I swear I'm going to get the story out of you. What on earth is somebody of your birth doing working as Z-line maintenance on a freighter for Edgecore?
It's if you ever worked in the corporate world, it's so dull. I mean, all you fly to all these wonderful places, and all you see is a hotel room and a boardroom. Where's the fun in that? And you're not allowed to drink. You can't have any kind of fun, even the kind of fun that Cowboy was just talking about.
Well, you can always have fun, man. You can always have fun.
You would not have had any fun where I came from. It was just so boring. I thought, I need to see the world. I need to see the world, and also they did catch me, and I did kind of have to leave. But
you want to see the world, you just look out those yonder windows.
you really are full of this kind of philosophy, aren't you, cowboy?
Then
Just
I am.
good looks.
Then I am.
Anyway, I'm curious about this. How you've discovered that you shouldn't squat whilst wearing spurs? Is there a story behind that?
No, I've never done it personally, but I can assure you, you don't want to know.
Those two statements contradict each other, but you keep telling yourself that.
And I will. Gypsy's lovely cowboy hat with a little buckle on top that he's very, very impressed with. He also, cowboy also keeps 2 pistols holstered on his hips. They're old, they're ancient. They're not spin loaders. They're not 6-shooters. But he loves them.
So why don't you take the opportunity to describe yourself, please, Sharon?
Sumi is she's a Lashunta. She's quite petite. She's one of the smaller types of Lashunta. She's got purple hair, which is quite long down her back, antenna. And when she is not dressed in her overalls, she's very good at doing like the classically dressed, very understated, but she knows what she's doing. She knows how to put herself together. But right now,
she has class.
She has class. The kind of class where you don't shout it.
Okay, so as the 3 of you sit in the bar, idly chatting away, you drink, you spend a few hours. If there's anything you'd like to interact on, you can do so now. Any of your backstories you want to discuss, please do so.
No one wants to discuss their backstory. That's our backstories, apparently.
It's been the end of a long shift. Just gonna drink in silence and
I think
stare
Vec's
at
just
a wall.
gone asleep. I put my feet up with my little spurs on the table. I tip my hat and I say, "Good night, y'all. Good night."
We do have beds here, right?
Well, I'm sitting in the bar. I'm just waiting until everybody's ready. Who knows who I'll go home with?
I've got a nest in engineering. You don't want to see it.
You have cabins for what they are, yes, but you do spend most of your downtime here. It is one of your favourite haunts, mainly because it's the 3 of you and the goblin. The working pattern that you have on the ship, it's a 30-hour day, so the crew tend to be split into 3. So there are a maintenance crew on each shift, and you tend not to mix because whilst one's working, one's sleeping, one's having a bit of downtime. So it's a very splintered sort of existence. So you do have this tight knit sort of bond, as it were. So currently it is you 3 and Skriz in the bar. That is it. So you can head off if you wish, or continue to drink and idle the hours away.
Skriz, can you put some music on? It's awfully quiet in here.
Certainly, Your Majesty. Yeah, I'll rustle something up for you. He tunes in a little computer terminal to some intergalactic radio stations that whiz across the drift, spring across the airwaves. He puts on some goblin rock music, which is nerve jangling, teeth grindingly painful to the ears. But yes, it certainly fills the place up.
So he downs another couple of drinks and starts dancing because you might as well. Why not? Have fun.
It is in fact turning out to be a usual evening, or for you on the Z shift, because I forgot to mention that you are on the last shift of the day. So it currently is about 9:30 a.m. in the morning. But hey, what better time to drink?
It's like going on holiday.
Is I have another shot of whiskey. I take down the shot and then tap the glass twice on the bar.
Oh, thank you very much. Not to crack them glasses. I had to steal them many trips ago.
I'll
So
find you some more if anything happens.
Well, unless you want to find me in the middle of your cabin in the middle of the night, then I'll suggest we don't have any more breakages. So, this drone of yours, Vec, does he do any tricks?
Climbs up walls. I've just fitted him out actually on the last time we docked. I just fitted him out with some really nice power claws. Because, as you know, I'm not really physically endowed, so I kind of like to let the drone do the. I'll do the talking and the drone does the walking. You know.
Yeah, I should have learnt that lesson myself. Did I ever tell you about my time on Absalom?
No.
Yeah, much like this bar, that was the owner, king of my domain. I had a whole level on Absalom, down in the ghost levels, right at the bottom. See, they call them the ghost levels. None of the politicians or the other residents they'd ever go down there. I had the whole place myself, me and my gang. Yeah, it was a good group of lads actually, till this dragon moved in. So I did start collecting scrap and whatnot, hanging around. Ate a few of the boys. Yeah. Next thing I know, politicians sent down some law enforcement. You know, they're crawling all over the place, thinking they own it. Come in, clean the place up, lock me in a cupboard. A cupboard, can you believe? Stuck in there for hours. Then they went and saw the dragon off, made a whole mess of the place, killed the rest of me boys, and there I was on my own.
So wrecked everything?
Wrecked everything. Yeah, it was my domain, my kingdom. So I had to steal a rocket cycle, get the hell out of there. Ended up, stowing away on this vessel. Eventually they found me, but I convinced them that the old bar was a good idea. Keep your maintenance crew probably out of trouble, so to speak. And well, that's the history. That's the end of it.
Out of trouble or into trouble?
Well, if you're not drinking in here, you're probably brewing wine in the toilet, aren't you?
Yeah. Kicking around looking for things to borrow.
Yeah. So what about you, cowboy? I'll see you with them pistols. You a decent shot?
I can shoot anything. I can shoot the wings off a fly.
Well, why don't we have a little bit of a competition then?
Okay, I tell you what, I'll even keep my eyes closed.
All right. I'm gonna take this here glass and I'll put it down at the end of the bar on that table. And if you hit it on the first try, I'll wipe the slate clean. I'll pay for all your drinks this evening. But if you miss it, you owe me a favour.
Sounds like a challenge. Let's go.
He walks down the end of the bar. Go on.
I was just gonna be absolutely sure. You want me to discharge my weapons in your establishment?
Yeah. What's the harm in that?
Okay. I don't know. Just regulations dictate. You don't want any alarms going off. You disable those alarms, you don't put me in trouble.
The alarms are already disabled. I wouldn't know what's going on here if the ship blew up on its maiden voyage.
That's fine. That's good to know.
Have you never noticed your little wrist bracelets don't work in here? There's no communications in the bar.
No, that's fine. Let's go.
He takes a little shot glass of whiskey and he puts it down the end of the bar. It's probably about 15 feet away. Go on in, you cocky bugger. Let's see it. Close your eyes.
Okay, so what he does is he'll stand up and he will put his hat over his eyes so he can't see. And he'll stand with his hands by the side of his guns. He'll wiggle his fingers and he'll wait. And then he'll draw, not just one and fire, he'll draw the second one to hit the glass a second time. Yo! What have I got to roll? Yeah, look, I can stall for. Look, what have I got to roll?
You got to roll 2d20 and add 2d20. Add your modifier for your pistol.
a modifier for my pistol. And why am I rolling 2? Have I got a disadvantage because I can't see?
No,
Right,
because
okay.
you're rolling 2 because you fired both pistols.
That's it. Right. Where might my modifier be, just in case?
It should be under your weapon.
I've got damage. That's all.
You
There's
should
level
have.
1 and damage.
Okay, you should have your dexterity
Oh.
bonus.
But that's only for thrown weapons, isn't it? Thrown and ranged.
Yeah, this is a ranged weapon.
Oh, okay. Well, I'm not. It's a. Okay, fair enough. I'll add that then. So I get. Okay. Right, I got a 20 and an 18.
You got a what?
I got 20 and an 18.
A natural
So
20.
that's a natural 20. So that's a 22. And an 18. So that's a dirty 20. There's dexterity bonus on it. What?
Unbelievable.
And then I'll spin them. And I'll sit back down because I'm confident. And I sit back down, put my feet back on the table, and then I lift up my hat just to check. Because I know I hit that glass twice.
Unbelievable. So, because you decided to shoot both pistols, you actually get a -4 modifier to both attacks. Okay? So you miss with the first shot. Just. You ricochet off the bar, the metal bar, and it careens off into the wall and then takes another ricochet and ends up embedding itself in one of the bar stools far, far across the other side of the room. However, with the second shot, the natural 20, even with the reduction, you cleanly smash through the glass that shatters into 1,000 pieces because it's cheap glass and goes across the bar. And Squiz looks up at you and says, I don't believe that. Well, I guess the drinks are on me then.
Somebody's going to pick the hat up and just put it up to her face. See if there's any foul play. And I'm guessing she doesn't see any foul play. There's no holes in the hat or anything.
Is there a hole in the hat?
There's no hole in it. No, there's no hole in the hat. I didn't think of that one. I'm just as amazed as everyone else. It's just that I'm not showing it. I'm just cool. I'm just like, yeah.
Tries to wear the hat.
And slightly when I pick up my drink, I'm slightly shaking.
That's the finest bit of shooting I think I've ever witnessed.
Uh-huh.
Now I don't think I've ever felt this way before. Normally I'd say I'm the best shot, but well, I'm not going to attempt to show that to you now. I'll try and distract you all by Vec. What can you do? We've seen what Cowboy can do. He's an ace shot. If he flies as well as he shoots, well, that ship's probably been put through its paces.
I guarantee I can fly better than I can shoot.
Well, you see that little hole going through into the room next door? I can easily jump and somersault through that. So, yeah, I can easily jump. It's only a little bit bigger than me, but I can easily slip through that gap. It's, we learnt it, Dave. It's a skill we learnt down in the tunnels.
So you're going to jump through that hole over there?
Yeah, that's the tiniest bit bigger than myself.
Okay.
Than my whole body.
Right. Good luck, Vec. Good luck.
Has anyone told him it's not a hole, that's a window?
If it's open.
Sammy's a little bit drunk.
I should just lift the hat off a little bit just so I can watch this.
So it's a 19, so that's 26.
So you vault off the bar stool, up onto the bar. You take a run all the way along the bar towards the hole that's in the wall. You swan dive forwards, outstretching your arms in a Superman pose, and you tuck at the last minute, neatly flipping forwards into a somersault, and you end up going through that rather small hole, not much bigger than yourself, the massive bulk of your waist and your equipment. You go through that hole neatly, you don't touch the sides. It's amazing. It really is a superior show of gymnastic ability. It would be impressive if it wasn't for the fact that you've actually jumped through the trash compactor hole and you are now in the cavity between the walls, rather like Luke Skywalker and Han Solo found themselves in when they escaped from the prison. And there is several days worth of goblin waste, bar snacks, old fast food wrappers, and Christ knows what else, trapped in the space between the containers. Fortunately, Skriz doesn't normally keep the hole closed, which is a bit dangerous because there is only one way for this waste to go, and that is out of the airlock that's at the other side of this room. You, of course, can see this from being inside the trash compactor, and it's probably a good idea to get out straight away. So you are pleased with your gymnastic ability, but you probably need to take a look at the controls inside the room and find out exactly why the airlock door on the inside of the room isn't closing, because it should be. Because if something went wrong, this whole area would be open to space.
Head over to the control panel.
Yep.
And see that it's undamaged.
Oh no, it's damaged. It's damaged.
Okay.
It looks like somebody's taken a hatchet to this. There's raw wires all over the place. The keypad's hanging in bits. The display's broken. Skriz looks over and goes, "Oh yeah, I meant to report that to the maintenance crew. That's a bit silly really, seeing as you're maintenance crew. Yeah, that broke the other day. I might have got a bit annoyed with it because the door wouldn't close. If you could see your way fit to closing that and fixing it for me, well, then I might be impressed. Not that your submissions were impressive, but you did jump into the trash compactor."
I'll have a look at that right now for you. Engineering check?
Yes, please.
It's a 7, but I get a plus 10, so it's 17.
That's good enough. You don't make a neat job of it. You're talking about splicing wires with some tape rather than a proper junction box. You jury rig the keypad back together. The display's beyond saving, but you do a good enough job that you punch in the access code and the door iris closes smoothly. So Skriz gives you a little round of applause and a hearty salute in way of thanks.
I waggle my tail at you.
Well, as I said, Vec, that was much more impressive than the dive into the trash compactor. And of course, you've made us all safe again, which is number one priority, I guess.
The dive into the trash compactor was all part of the elaborate setup.
Very good, Vec, very good. So, I guess the three of you have impressed me. What exactly, what skills do you have, Your Majesty? Other than class, of course, which is something that money can't buy.
In Skriz's head, he hears, "Well, what would you like to know?" As she sways slightly.
Well, can you shoot a gun? Can you fix a panel? Can you make me levitate? Can you grant me wildest dreams?
I'm well out of your price range, I'm afraid. But nice try. Well, I can tidy up that mess over there from here, and she will look at the mess of glass, cast psychonetic hand, which I can say really well, and just kind of start to sweep it into a pile in the middle and make it easier for him.
Yeah, that's not bad. That's not bad. Can you get it from there into the trash compactor? It is an awful walk from here to there.
Yes, she then casts telekinetic projectile, and it flies through the air towards the trash compactor.
The sight of broken glass accelerating from the bar across the room, expertly through the trash compactor holes Iris is closed behind, does impress Skriz, because that would be quite a weapon in the right circumstances.
Oh, that was a bit dangerous, wasn't it? I probably shouldn't do that around big groups of people.
Oh no, that was good. That was impressive. That was
Are you
impressive.
sure?
Oh
Okay.
yeah. That was definitely worth the entrance fee. So I guess I'm paying for your drinks, and that's that's all right. That's all right. It was a bit of entertainment. And that was some mighty fine shooting, cowboy. Some impressive spell work, Your Majesty, and of course, Vic. I now have a fixed trash compactor, so that was worth a few drinks. He steps back to the bar, picks up another glass, an unbroken one, and starts polishing it again. He serves another round of drinks, and again you go back to talking amongst yourselves. This time, however, as you go to lift the glass of whiskey from the bar, there is a loud thud that reverberates throughout the room. The furniture that you're not sat on falls over immediately, and all of you get thrown against the bar. Fortunately, you don't fall away. You will manage to steady yourself on the bar, but you were physically moved by the loud explosion.
Well, now that's a sign that kind of sounds like trouble.
What the hell was that? What's going on? What's going on?
You said you disabled the alarms. What alarms did you disable?
All of them, and all the communications.
What, collision alarms?
Yeah, and the
I don't
proximity
think that was a very
alarms,
smart idea now, was it, Cobra?
and the captain's audio messages, and radiation alarms. Do you know how many alarms go off in a vessel? And as he's saying that, yet another explosion rocks the vessel, and the sound reverberates through the hull. That bass sort of. So you get the impression that whatever's going on is coming from the outside. So as you've taken a lot of meteorite hits over the last few days, you figure it may be something to do with that. What would you like to do?
Down the drink, and maybe if we were to step outside of the bowl, do we have communicators which would then start working again?
You don't know how far he has disabled the communications.
Okay. There is a computer. Then they would.
Yes, yeah, you could. I mean, nothing comes up as soon as you step outside the bar. If you want to test that, there is a computer terminal in the bar, or you can wander away and see how far it takes you to get something.
Given he's tampered with stuff, I'm gonna go outside and wander until something picks up.
Okay. Cowboy Vic.
Yeah.
Someone. Go on.
I was going to say I'll go with Miss Amy.
Okay.
Yeah. I'm going to follow them, but as someone who's gifted in the physical sciences, can I do a check to see if I can work out what's going on before we go anywhere, or at least get an idea of what's going on?
Yep. Roll a check for me, please.
$27.
Okay, good roll. Okay, as an engineer, and as one of the maintenance crew on this particular vessel, you are attuned to the noises, the creaks, the rushing of hydraulic fluids and steams and coolant through the pipes that wend their way through this superstructure. You realise two things. Number one, whatever is going on is happening on the outside of the ship. If this was an explosion from internally, there would be depressurization, you would be spinning because of the atmosphere escaping from the vessel. So something is hitting the vessel from outside, but you are not yet losing atmosphere. The second thing that you realise, and this is more concerning, the engines are off.
As we run as a group, I tell the guys, the engines are off. Something's going on outside the ship. And the engines are off.
Well, if there's no engines, I can't fly.
Go anywhere if the engines are off. Where do
Think-
you think we can find out some more information somewhere?
We need to go and
Vec, what do you suggest, Vec?
we can either go and see the captain and get in trouble for being somewhere where there's no alarms on, or we can go to engineering and see if the A shift and know what's going on.
Let's go and see if we can show up the A shift. I'm
Yeah.
always on board for that.
Yeah, exactly. They can go back on mending chicken soup machines. We'll sort this out.
Well, they are very particular about the nozzles they put in the chicken soup machine.
They are.
I hate it so much.
They are.
Honestly, they're all the same size.
I know, right?
Okay, so you head off down the corridor towards the direction of engineering, and after 100, 200 yards maybe, all three of your communication bracelets chime to life, and Vec, your communication and interface pad also chimes to life. And you'd never really noticed the fact they haven't worked in Goblin Bar before. You don't know why. I guess you just knock off after your shift and you're not really interested in trying to check out what's going on with the ship. It is your downtime after all. But yeah, Scrizz's ability with destroying things extended way beyond the physical location of his bar. As soon as your communication bracelets jump to life and your communication pad jumps to life as well, it receives a message. Alert. This is your captain speaking. As we have been tracked for the last 20 minutes by pirates, they have closed the distance and they have started their attack run. We are outnumbered and outgunned. This is a general quarters message, a recorded message. Please head to your nearest disembarkation point, man the escape pads and abandon vessel. This ship will self-destruct, and a computer voice chimes in at that point and says, 5 minutes and 37 seconds. The message then repeats itself, followed by a lesser countdown. You realise you're now on a ship that you should have started disembarking from 10 minutes ago. What do you wish to do?
Well, I suggest we hightail it out of here, folks.
Yeah, where's our disembarkation point? Where's the exit?
3 decks up. Now, as
Well,
Vec
we
will
didn't
tell
have
you,
this-
with the engines off, you are currently working on emergency power, which means many of the lifts will not be working. You now have to climb 3 decks to get to your disembarkation point if you wish to escape in 5 minutes. Or there is an alternative. That alternative is the BD514 that currently resides in the main storage hull.
Oh, do you want to actually show us how your piloting is better than your shooting?
Almost certainly. Let's go.
Let's
Vec,
go.
lead on. Let's go.
Yeah. I lead them down to the bay, but take a slight detour on the way.
You've just switched your
Oh,
camera
Will,
off.
Just take a slight detour on the way to pick up the drone. Lil Vec, he's not fully charged yet, but I can't go without him.
Okay, what would you like to do about... sorry, 2 seconds, I'm just going to sort the cameras out. What would you like to do about Skriz? Anything? Or is he a every man for himself?
I think Spitz can probably look after himself.
No, we can't do that. So we're just going to run back and go, come with us, Chris.
Got to tell him somehow.
Well, look, yeah, sometimes you're just too good for yourself, Mio. So, right. Vec, you go. Get your drone.
Yep.
We'll meet back in the... where's the ship? In the hangar?
In the hangar, yeah, sorry.
the hangar,
I
yeah.
couldn't remember the word. The ship is in the hangar, it's in the main hangar. If you run, it's probably 2 minutes, 2.5 minutes from where your current position is.
So let's go. We hightail it back. Let's go. Let's go get that little goblin shit.
Okay, so you hightail it the 200 yards back to the bar, and as you approach, you see Skriz standing in the doorway, and he's holding his fishbowl helmet in his hands, and he's wearing a little orange cosmonaut jumpsuit. And as you get closer, he dumps the fishbowl helmet on his head and twists it into place, applying the seal, and then he reaches out and presses something to the side of the doorway just inside the bar. And just as you get there, blast doors roll down in front of the bar. A tinny voice through a little communication speaker by the door rasps out and says, I'm sorry, Your Majesty. I'm sorry, Cowboy, but well, I owed a lot of people a lot of money, shall we say, and well, they're early. They weren't supposed to attack us this quickly. Please accept my apologies, but I suggest you run. And with that, you hear a large depressurization clunk as the whole room behind is vacated to space, and you see Skriz float off out through the airlock doors behind.
You see, I told you we shouldn't trust him.
Goblins, man.
Now we've wasted time on this. Let's get going. We're gonna get to the hangar. We can fly now with our tails between our legs. Let's go.
We tried to do a good thing. He's clearly not done any good things.
Well, dying ain't much of a living, so let's go.
Okay, so you run back down the corridor the way you came. You meet up with Vec on the way. Vec's picked up his drone, and you hightail it to the main hangar. You get there, and two things greet your view. Firstly, you can see a crewmate of yours, a Banari, and I will quickly put the picture up for everybody so they can see what that is. So a Banari is an otter person. Now, this particular Banari is called Tarika. And Tarika is somewhat of your boss. She is the maintenance crew shift coordinator. So she would report up directly to the senior shift leaders about what all of the maintenance crews are working on. So you would report into her, even though she doesn't necessarily work on your shift. She is the overall coordinator and supervisor. She is laying on the floor. Looks like she's unconscious, certainly injured. It looks like part of the bulkhead has collapsed, and the reason for its collapse is the second thing you see. Sitting neatly in the hangar is what can only be described is a DIY spaceship. It looks like a cross between a rocket cycle and a Formula One sports car. It is a cobbled together space vehicle. Yeah, exactly. It has no cockpit, no cabin. It's basically a jet engine with a few manual controls. It has seats for two, and the two people who are sitting in those seats are currently jumping down from the back of the cycle, and they are another two goblins. They are brandishing laser pistols and what looks like, again, homemade swords. They look like they've been formed from steel plate, sharpened with a rusty axe. They are sharp, they are jagged, and I think you'd die from tetanus if nothing else. So the ship has, the rocket cycle has obviously crashed through or burnt its way through the hangar doors. Fortunately, the force field has come on, the emergency force field has come on. preventing the rest of the atmosphere from escaping from the hangar. And it looks like the goblins are intent on acquiring a new, slightly upgraded vessel in the form of the BD-514. They haven't seen you yet, so what would you like to do?
Are we just getting on the ship, or are we gonna do
Well,
something?
no, we need to get out of here. Vec, can you open the door?
Try.
Well, we just have to.
Yeah, I can certainly try. If you guys and Little Vec keep them busy, I can see if I can get us in.
We're still gonna get from here today.
Okay.
Okay, so you're currently stood in the entranceway to the hangar. The hangar bay doors are closed but damaged. The hole that's been burnt in them for the rocket cycle to come in has been sealed with an emergency force field.
How far away is the door?
The hangar bay door?
Yeah.
Oh, hundreds of feet away. Hundreds of feet
Okay.
away. So the rocket cycle it's a massive hangar, obviously, because it's containing another vessel. The rocket cycle, when it's come through that door, has sort of landed and come to a skidding halt, crashing into some of the other cargo that's in barrels. There's some RSJs and steel and stuff like that. That's what's knocked over, hit Tarika, and that's why she's unconscious. So Tarika unconscious adjacent to where the rocket cycle is. The two goblins have got off the rocket cycle and look like they're making their way towards the open entranceway to the BD-514 starship. So that they're intent on moving towards the starship, which is why they haven't seen you standing at the hangar door. You are about 100 feet away from them.
Okay.
Is there anything we can pick up nearby which would, can we pick up a barrel or crate and just kind of hold out in front of us and slowly sneak across the bay? Then every now and then we just drop it down, hide behind it.
You can try that if you wish. You could dart from the doorway to the nearest pallet of goods, make your
Yes.
way circuitously round the back of the starship and try and take them by surprise on the other side. You can certainly do that, or you can take the direct route and charge them or shoot them from distance. It's up to you. But they haven't noticed you yet. They are very intent on just making their way towards the starship.
Okay, I'm up for that.
Yep. If I send the drone down the middle,
Yep.
will we sneak around the outside?
Okay.
Because the drone's not built for sneaking.
Okay. So what are you going to get the drone to do?
The drone's got a 30 feet move, so I could get it to move twice.
Yep.
Okay. And so he's 6, so he's 40 feet away from them now.
But that would be your action and your move to get there,
Right.
so you can't do anything else.
Yep. And I'm going to sneak around with the guys.
Okay. Can you all make me some stealth checks then, please?
Dirty 20.
18.
13.
Okay, even with 13, that is enough. My perception was a natural 2, so yeah,
Well done.
they're not paying any attention to
I eat
anything.
rice.
That is it. Eyes on the prize. Okay, so you move around the cargo. You run between the open spaces on the hangar floor, and you make a lengthy detour, but you do reach the starship, the base of the ramp that sits open in the hangar, without being seen, which is good. The goblins are nowhere to be seen, so you have to assume that they are on the starship at the moment. What do you wish to do now? So Vec, your drone followed your commands. It headed down the middle and is currently, because it got there first, waiting for you at the base of the ramp. So there is the open ramp. Goblins nowhere to be seen. The rocket cycle is behind you 20 feet away, as is the Banari laying on the floor, seemingly unconscious, currently trapped by some RSJs and some oil barrels. What do you wish to do?
I would like to go over to Tarika and see if she is still alive.
She is breathing. You can see she's taken a nasty head wound, so she's unconscious. But yes, she is still breathing, so she is still alive.
Are we able, or would I be able to move her?
The oil barrels you can roll out of the way. That's pretty easy. But the RSJ that's trapping her legs does look pretty heavy. So you can try and lift it, and then one of the others can drag her out from underneath.
Yeah, with my 0 strength modifier. So is that strength or would that be athletics?
It's
which is the same
athletics.
thing, so never mind. Oh, it's a 15.
You managed to lift it far enough that somebody could pull her out, but at the moment, Vec and Cowboy, what are you doing?
I'll run over there and start pulling her out if I can.
Yep, you can. That's easy enough. Masomi has lifted the RSJ far enough that Tarika now she's freed enough to pull her out, so that's not a problem. No check required.
But she's
for
unconscious.
That. She is unconscious.
We just put her into a fireman's lift pose kind of thing. Get her out of there.
Yep. Your wrist bracelets beep. You look down simultaneously and you notice that you're now at the 2-minute mark before the vessel self-destructs. What do you wish to do?
Gotta keep going.
Need to get out.
Yep, GTFO.
Head towards the ship.
Okay. So you make your way up the ramp and into the main cargo area. So let me switch to the map view. And that's fine. Can you, one of you, speak for me, please? I need to check your sound. Yeah, I thought so. Your sound is not coming through, so let me just fix that quickly.
Hand off.
Okay, speak for me again, please.
Testing.
Yeah.
Testing.
Great, thank you very much. Right, that's great. I apologise for that minor blip, but that is fixed. So I'm just going to stick the map up. If I can remember what map it was. There we go. Right, so this is the map of the BD 514. You've entered into the main cargo hold from the bottom here, and it's currently empty, and the doors from the cargo bay, Cowboy, you'll be familiar with this, enter straight into the crew lounge. This is a hauling vessel that's built on the micro scale. So the
1 second, Steve. Apparently, we not got any sound at all. Can anyone in the audience confirm that, please? No, I've got sound.
yeah. I'm showing that I'm outputting sound for both of us now, so me and Zoom.
Yep. No, Joe mentioned me directly. That was all.
Okay, all right. It wasn't when I first switched the map over. There wouldn't have been any sound for you, so yeah. Okay, right. So as I was saying, the ramp that you've gone up goes straight into the hold area for the ship. So this ship is roughly circular based, and the map is up in zoom now, so you can see it. And there's actually 2 holds, one on either side of the vessel, and both of those holds enter out into the main crew quarters, the kitchen area, the seating area. These ships are small. They're designed to be run by a small crew complement of up to 6 maximum, and there's not a lot of luxuries, but they are intended to be run by families and small owner operators. As you enter into the hold, the doors on the opposite side to the crew quarters are standing open, but you can hear, without needing to make a perception check, a loud hammering sound coming from somewhere within that room. What would you like to do?
Well, we got less than 2 minutes to go. I suggest I'm going to go ahead and find the cockpit. Get us out of here. You deal with the sound. I'll deal with the flying.
Well,
You get
the
the sound,
sound is coming from that cockpit area. So you make your way into the crew quarters and you look down the long corridor towards the cockpit. A direction that you are familiar with, Cowboy. You've spent many thousands of hours on this particular vessel during its shakedown trials, and you know it intimately.
That's good. I was starting to panic then.
As you step into the crew lounge, and you can see to your left the corridor that goes down to the cockpit doors, which is at the end on the far left. You see the 2 goblins trying to hack away. One of them's hacking away at the door with what looks like a monkey wrench. And the other one is trying to gain access to the panel that would unlock the door. Now you know, Cowboy, that they keep the security locked, so there is a security access code to get to the bridge. They don't want anyone just taking these vessels out and flying around in them. So it looks like the goblins are trying to steal it, but at the moment they are failing because they can't gain access to the bridge. Again, they have not noticed you. What do you want to do?
I'm assuming he's going to go, "What do you think you're doing? Would you please stop that?" And as she does that, she's going to cast Daze on the one that's hammering.
Okay.
And I would like you to make a will save.
I will try and make a will save. That's a 12.
Let me check to see if that hits, which I've got to find because I can't remember where it is on my character sheet. I still don't know where it is on my character sheet. No, that would be a fail. That would be a fail.
Okay.
So it's dazed for a round, and it can't take any actions.
Okay, so you cast a spell and cartoon stars fly around its fishbowl head, and it immediately stops hammering on the door. And his mate sort of looks over at him, and you said, "Please stop that." And it turns, looks over its shoulder at you, and his hand goes towards his pistol. So there's just enough time for Vec and Cowboy to react. What would you like to do?
I'll gunsling.
Go for it.
Fire.
Roll to hit for me, please.
Am I still carrying the other person? By the way.
Yes, you are. So you'll only be able to do 1 pistol shot.
Yeah. 13.
Oof, that just misses. So it just careens off this artfully placed.
That's a warning shot. Don't make me do it again. I'll take your head off. Now get off this goddamn ship.
He takes a stagger back as the balloon ricochets off the metal shoulder pad on his spacesuit. He looks angry and hurt rather than scared. So you don't think you've done much to intimidate him. Vec, what would you want to do?
I send my drone towards them, not so it's within close combat range, but so it's very, very close, clearly to intimidate them.
Okay. Would you like to roll me an intimidation check, please?
$19.
Okay. The sight of a pistol brandishing, Stetson wearing cowboy, a magic wielding classy lady, and this huge drone recently fitted with power-assisted lifting claws is probably too much for 2 goblins to take. They've decided they've had enough trying to break in. The one who turned and was hit on the shoulder by a cowboy's bullet grabs the other one on the shoulder, who's currently dazed and stupefied, and tries to drag him down the corridor. Unfortunately, he's got to walk past you to leave the vessel. So is there anything you want to do? They're clearly running away, albeit slowly. But do you trust them enough to do that, or do you want to take any more attack actions?
I would follow them out unless anyone wants to attack.
Yeah. Double time. Come on, gobbles.
Okay. They speed
Then
up.
I'll say that, and then I'll make a run for the cockpit.
Okay, so as soon as the second one comes out the daze and his mate's not dragging him along and slowing him down, they both hightail it down the ramp that they came up, and they leave the vessel. Cowboy, you make a beeline directly for the door to the cockpit.
I'll put the person down on a comfy chair or something.
Yep.
Then get to the cockpit.
Okay, you
Start
enter.
Putting everything on.
You enter the security code, and the door slides neatly open. You seat yourself in your pilot's seat, and you start to fire up the ship's computer.
Yep. The switches.
Yep. There are several warning messages that come up. Several warning messages associated with the startup sequence of the engines. Somebody is going to need to go to the engine room, which is.
I'll turn the onboard communication systems on and shout into it. Back.
Yeah. I know when it's my time to shine. I quickly scurry down to the engineering bay and start frantically pulling levers.
Okay, so bear with me 1 second, and I will put some tokens on the map. So the engineering bay is to the rear of the ship, so that's to the right of the crew cabin, and the cockpit is to the left, so it's the opposite ends of the ship. So Twitch will catch up in a second, and you'll be able to see where you are located. So you have a little Stetson is obviously Cowboy. The spanner is Vec, the engineer, and our Witch Warper, Callistocrat. Missoni is in the crew quarters. I don't have a token for Tarika, but she's currently lying on that comfy sofa in the centre of the room. So, Cowboy, you provide the startup sequence for the ship's computers, and it starts coming to life in front of you. However, in engineering, there is a problem. You are going to have to manually start the engines. You're going to have to prime some fuel. You're going to have to fire up the power core, and you are going to have to do it quickly.
Yeah, crank it.
Right.
Again, over the comms, like, crank it, Vec.
On it. Do you need an engineering check?
Yeah, so you need to go through a 3-step process. Firstly, you're going to have to manually open the fuel lines.
Yeah.
Then you're going to have to start up the power core, and then you're going to have to coax the engine into ignition.
Okay.
That last step you can't do until the ship's computer in the cockpit has fully started, so you're going to need to make me 2 engineering checks. Then Cowboy is going to need to make a piloting check, and then you're going to make me the last engineering check, please.
Okay. I've got a 16 for you.
Oh, that is just a pass. So you sit down at the main engineering terminal, and you walk through the sequence for opening the fuel valves. This is an unfamiliar mark of ship for you, obviously, because you're more used to the heavy haul vessels. But you do work out enough familiarity to just make that roll.
The next one's a 12.
Oh, that isn't enough. You've failed to start the power core. So the power core can be started from the cockpit. So, Cowboy, make me a computer check, please.
Okay, I'll shut down the comms. Vec, stop trying to impress me. Don't leave it to the last second, boy. Right. Sorry, piloting.
Computers, please.
Oh, computers.
Yeah.
Right, sorry. That's a 16.
Again, that's just enough to pass. So you sort of basically jury rig the power core to start by sending a massive signal from the main onboard computer to get the power core started up. The lights in the whole vessel dim and slowly flicker back to life, but you do hear the power core starting up, and then more of the main systems come online. So the main computer system fully operational now. So you need to go through the pre-flight sequence. You need to close the bay doors. You're going to need to open the main hangar doors whilst Vec starts the engine. So make me
Okay.
your piloting check,
start.
please.
Yep.
Oh boy, is there anything I can do to help?
Oh, I got that's an 18.
Yep, that's good enough. You throw the switches in the correct sequence. The loading bay door closes. The hangar bay doors creak open. But the damage that's been caused by the rocket cycle prevent the door on the right hand side from opening all the way. So you don't have a full hangar bay opening to fly through, and we'll get to that in a second.
Am I automatically thinking that if I fly the spaceship sideways, it will fit?
Yes.
Well, there we go. We're going for that.
We'll get to that
I'm ready.
in a second. Miss Amy, is there anything you'd like to do to help?
I don't think I know really understand ships, so unless I'm directed to do something, I've made it. Well, I'm sure you know what you're doing, cowboy. But if you need any help, please tell me. And then she'll.
Yeah, well, I can. I'll need a sift drink after this one. Make sure the fridge is on.
I can definitely do that. Any particular cocktail you want whipping up, just let me know.
I'm a rootin' tootin' cowboy, man. Keep the whiskey coming.
In that case, I'll probably just see to Tarika, make sure that she's not bleeding out.
Yep. Okay. Can you make me a medicine check, please?
Can I? Oh, it's a 17. 17, 19.
19. Okay. You pull out the emergency med kit, the first aid kit from the crew quarters, and you start applying some salves and bandages to the abrasions, bruises, and cuts that cover Tarika. You particularly pay attention to the head wound. You put a couple of temporary stitches in, and you bandage it up. She slowly comes to consciousness, looks up at you, and then falls back into a more natural sleep, so to speak. So not unconsciousness, but just a sleep of weariness, because she's taken quite a beating. You have stabilised her. She is going to be okay. So yeah, good roll. Okay, Vec in engineering. You now have to start the main engine. And as you go to do that, the timer on your wrist communicator reaches 1 minute.
I try my best, but this machine's been made for someone with thumbs. 29.
That is not only enough, that gives the ship a little bit of a boost as well. Because you didn't start the power core correctly and at the right time, you did manage to flood the engine, so there was quite a lot of fuel sat in there. However, you've really forcefully ignited the engines, and that extra fuel has served to burn off very, very quickly and provide a bit of a speed boost to the ship as it takes off. So yeah, there is some acceleration to
Definitely
be
gonna turn it
withstood.
sideways.
Yeah,
So-
I'm in here, aren't I? So I'll be...
Cowboy and Vic, you are sat down at computer terminals. Unfortunately, Miss Omi, you're not. You are
No,
currently stood
I've not been given any warning.
crew quarters, and without any warning, this ship lurches forward as it launches. Can you make me a reflex saving throw, please?
Well, that I shouldn't have rolled that dice. That's an 8.
Unfortunately, that's not
Okay, I'll
enough.
save the tip.
So you do lose your footing, and slide across. Oh, that's cocked. Slide across the crew quarters, banging quite heavily into the breakfast bar or the kitchen area that's over at the back there. You take 2 points of bludgeoning damage.
Okay. Didn't spill the drink though. Kept the drink. The important thing.
Okay. You accelerate forwards with a spurt of velocity. Cowboy, you're going to need to make me a piloting check to avoid the partially closed door in front of you.
I'm assuming we are going straight out.
You are going straight out, yeah.
So it's a 19.
A 19 is enough. Because it's a very straight line, you haven't got to navigate your way around the hangar. It's just straightforward. So that all you really had to do was point and click, and then with a quick, deft flick of the wrist, you alter the orientation of the vessel so it's from flat to vertical, and you go sailing through the gap in the hangar bay, and out into space proper now in the BD 514 as you try and escape from the ruins of the Eugenia's Grace. However, as you...
Oh, it said BD5, right, sorry. Because it was sideways, I was reading it as boss. Like, yeah.
It's BD 514, yeah, but boss 14 sounds better, don't it?
Boss.
So
Who's the boss now?
You fly out into open space in this vessel, and to be honest, it actually feels good to be flying again, flying this particular mark. Flying around in the maintenance vehicles for you seems a bit of a chore, replacing hull plating and stuff like that. You're doing now what you were born to do, which is fly ships, and on the edge of their performance. You flick to vertical and fly out the doors and out into open space, and you give it a bit of showmanship, and you arc up around the Eugenia's Grace, and what you witness is hundreds of vessels descending upon the heavy hauler. Many of them in the same sort of scrubbed together form as the rocket cycle that you saw in your own hangar. Slightly larger models, lots of rocket cycles, but just this general sort of Mad Max type cobbled together nature. You witness many of the rocket cycles firing harpoons into the Eugenia's Grace, and then accelerating away, peeling almost the whole plating, as if they're not really interested in the ship, maybe not even interested in its contents, but they're certainly interested in it for its metal, its mineral and physical resource.
I'll shout out over the comms that I got some good news and some bad news, folks. Good news is we're out of the frying pan. Bad news is we landed right in the fire. Buckle up now.
Okay. There are a lot of ships around. What do you want to do? There are obviously about 30 seconds left in the Eugenia's Grace life.
They're like around us, and we're flying straight. Yeah.
Yeah, there are some
we'll
around the vessel. There's some coming towards the vessel. There's some just flying around in the vicinity. What do you want to do?
Interested in us? Are they showing any interest in us?
Not at the moment.
Okay.
I'm gonna do my best damn flying.
Okay.
I'm gonna fly zigzag. I'm gonna spin this thing.
Do a barrel roll.
Yeah.
You are.
We have guns. Sorry, do we have guns?
No, you do not. This is a
unarmed ship.
This is an unarmed ship. This is a transport vessel.
We got on the wrong ship. We did not check this. I thought it was like meteorite collision warnings and we're in trouble, not, forgetting that we saw a spaceship outside. Okay, we are in trouble.
Just keep going. We'll be fine, cowboy. Just keep going.
Yep.
So
They're
there
not
is,
interested in us. They just want scavenge.
you are you had got very very close to the diaspora, and as I said at the beginning, the diaspora is just this massive field of meteorites that basically dissect the pack worlds. You can head towards that area. You may find some cover amongst the various moonlets and rocks that orbit on that path. It's obviously where they have come from, so it's a region that they know, but there may be some cover.
I think we should go for it.
Yep.
Definitely.
Okay.
Are these two in the cockpit? Are they still in their areas?
They're in their areas, so
I think we should go for it.
Vec is still in engineering, and Musomi is still in the crew quarters.
I hear Vec agreeing to go for it, so that's it. Boom! I just split second decision that we're doing it.
Okay, you up the power rate to the engines. The lights
Full
in the
power,
cabin
let's
dim,
go.
and yeah, you head off at full power towards the meteorite field. It does appear that most of the small vessels are ignoring you. They seem to be heading for the main quarry, which is the Eugenia's Grace. But all of a sudden, space lights up behind you as the countdown timer reaches 0, and the Eugenia's Grace time in this universe comes to an end as it explodes into a fiery, cataclysmic explosion. It takes out many of the rocket cycles and bikes that are in close proximity to it, that are, actively peeling away a piece of its hull to scavenge and turn into more goblin pirate vessels. Out of the hundreds of vessels that were surrounding Eugenia's Grace at the time, it probably takes out half, probably takes out maybe 75 or 80 of the vessels as the explosion reaches its pinnacle. Debris is thrown out into surrounding space, and that accounts for probably 20 or 30 more vessels, but still local space and the area around the meteor swarm is still maybe 30 or 40 goblin vessels that were circling a far enough away distance that they could also get outside the area of main impact. Because you got that extra boost of speed from the hangar as you took off, and because of your expert piloting skills, you also managed to just stay in front of this wave of devastation that erupts from the epicenter of the explosion of the Eugenia's Grace. You reach the meteor field, however, you do notice that on your ship's radar you are now starting to ping maybe 5 or 6 vessels following you. What do you wish to do?
Well, I'm still flying towards the asteroid field.
Yeah, so you reach the asteroid field. You are now on the edges of the asteroid field, but there are 5 or 6 vessels following you.
I will. I'm just going to go in. Go in deeper, fly in deeper.
Okay.
We definitely have no guns. I'm just double checking. Do we have anything we can eject to explode in space?
Have we got a trash compactor, an ejector that we could put a thermos flask of nitroglycerin into?
You extract some antimatter from the power core.
Yeah, siphon some off.
No, none of that. This is a very simple light freighter with a drift engine, and unfortunately, apart from the wheeled hauler and the hovercraft in the right hand cargo bay, everything else is empty. This is on its way to be delivered.
We're just going to have to keep running.
I'll just keep flying then. I'm keeping the comm open so we can talk, and I'm telling them exactly what's going on.
Okay.
Yeah.
We ain't got no guns. And we got 5 bogeys on us. I think we're I'm gonna see if I can lose them in the asteroid field. I just wanted to check if you're okay with that because hey, I'm going in.
Roger, Roger. What's your vector, Victor?
It's under Rover. We're going.
If you
Oh,
see
oh.
anywhere that we can maybe shelter, that might be a good idea.
Yeah, I can look for some big ones. I look for some small ones, and boom, boom, so that they try and copy me and they smash into the asteroids, and we get away scot free. To fly free or die. There we go.
Those are your choices.
The former, not the latter.
Okay, so you fly deeper into the asteroid field. There are indeed some small erratically orbiting rocks that you would need to avoid, and there are some rather large moonlets. So you can do both. You can take a circuitous path towards one of the larger moons, try and set down, try and hide, hoping that your piloting skills are better than the goblins that are following you, and try and take out some that way. Or you can just keep flying around dodging rocks. The choice is yours. What do you want to do?
Got my faith in the pilot. Got my faith in you, cowboy.
Again, the hat is down. Let's go.
It's down.
Oh.
Okay, so you're gonna fly through some asteroids and head towards one of the larger moonlets, yeah?
Yeah.
Okay.
And then find a big snake animal.
Have we got any shields?
Only emergency shields to prevent atmosphere or depressurization. There's nothing that would protect you from real weapon fire. It's a very basic ship. It's intended for hauling goods between short distances. You can of course upgrade it. That would take up some of the cargo space, but in its raw form, it's a ship for delivering goods. That's it. Okay, so you fly some maneuvers, shall we call them, around some of the smaller rocks. You come in close proximity.
Piloting maneuvers.
Ace piloting maneuvers. Yes, that
I
is
didn't even
correct.
have to roll. That's how good I am.
I'm
good.
I'm going to get you to roll now.
Oh, you said it. You had to say it, didn't you?
You just said you make some. I was like, wait, that's easy.
You make the maneuvers. How ace they are, and whether they're good enough to fool the goblins is what you're going to be rolling for. You do it, but I'm still going to make you roll for how well you do it, and whether the goblins are tricked enough to be forced into making their own evasive maneuvers.
Okay.
I think Miss Amy has found a way to strap herself in so that she doesn't go flying again.
Yeah, you strap yourself into one of the seats in the cabin
and same
area.
with Teresa.
Yeah. Okay, so you fly some maneuvers around some of the erratically orbiting rocks. Make me a piloting check, please.
That's high. It is 31.
That is a very good roll. That is a very good roll. So you manage to weave and bob between two house-sized rocks, timing it perfectly that you fly between as they close off. The goblins on the rocket cycles have been somewhat recklessly accelerating to try and get close enough to harpoon you, and I will roll their checks now.
Are they faster than us? Are they behind us, or are they like now side by side?
They're behind you, but they are faster than you, so they are catching up. So because of your last maneuver, as you barrel roll, ducking over the last rock and flying under the one before, and then gunning it as fast as possible as these rocks basically overlap towards the largest moonlit, like trying to trick them that they lose view of you, and then you can settle down and maybe fly behind the moonlit and hide, for example. They all try and follow you. They're sort of caught up in the chase, as it were, the excitement. They're gunning it, accelerating as hard as possible to try and catch up with you. And of the 6, 4 of them just screw up their flight vector massively and end up flying into the meteorite, with the final one just managing to fly, trying to copy you exactly and fly between the rocks as they close, and getting squashed between the two of them as two massive meteorites
And I see
crash
this in my
against each
rear
other.
view, didn't I?
Yes,
I just adjust it like that.
you see that on the rear camera, and in fact you enjoyed that moment so much that you start to output the camera feeds into the crew quarters, so that Miss Oni can see it as well, to prove what an ace pilot you
Well
truly
done.
are.
Well done. You've definitely
However,
earned points.
there are still two that are not as good a pilot as you, but good enough to go around those last two meteors. And because they are faster than you, they have now caught up. Is there anything you would like to do now?
Just keep flying.
Okay.
Can we go any faster? Is there anything you can do?
I'll see if I can get some more power out of these engines, but
If you give her any more,
might be tough. Hang on.
You can try and up the fuel ratio. It will eventually damage the engines beyond repair, but you think you can probably go up to sort of 100% efficiency for a small amount of time. You do risk burning the engines out and stalling them, but it's probably worth the risk considering you've got two goblin vessels either side of you at the moment.
we've got 4 down, 2 to go. But they're gaining. Anything you got, Vec?
12.
Hit the turbo button. Hit the turbo button.
12. Unfortunately, that is not good enough. And in fact, where you was intending to up the mixture enough to give it that extra boost of speed, get a bit more of efficiency out of the engine, a bit more vector out of the engine, it has the opposite effect. So whereas before, when you sort of put too much fuel into the chamber, when you failed to start the power core and cause ignition, then you've put too much fuel in now, and you've stalled the ignition process, and the engine sputters and cuts out, and you are now coasting. The two goblin vessels, accelerating hard as they were, now get in front of you, and they spin round definitely in the 0G of space, and as you approach the moonlit, you are now faced down by two goblin rocket cycles, whose next action is to fire their harpoon into your bridge. Cowboy, can you make me a reflex saving throw, please?
Yep. Okay. It's a natural 1.
You rolled a natural 1.
Okay, it's a natural 1. But my reflex dexterity is 14.
14?
Okay, it's a natural 1. That's a critical failure. So one of the harpoons flies through the window and embeds itself in the chair opposite you. It shatters clean through the glass, embeds itself into the chair and the panel behind, and the bulkhead behind, and you are now ship to ship attached.
Ray Shields.
Unfortunately, as that thought goes through your head, the next thing to go through your body is the other harpoon. The harpoon from the second rocket cycle. Again, spearing deftly through the glass of the cockpit as it shatters, straight through you, your chair, and into the panel behind. Can you take 36 points of damage, please?
Well, yes. I just want to point out that unless I've done it wrong, I only have 6 hit points. So when you say 36,
You're very dead.
The way it's going, yeah, I'd imagine these are big harpoons. If
They
it's gone
are
through
big
me,
harpoons.
that
Yes.
also means like my spine has gone. That's
So
not like you've been shot in the thigh or something and you're limping.
no, this is like at the end of Serenity when Alan Tudyk is impaled by the rather large metal object. You have been impaled by a rather large harpoon that's gone through you and the chair. The chair has snapped off its mounting, and you are now pinned to the bulkhead behind you. The
Oh shit!
fact
Okay,
that your
I never reached a con.
cockpit glass windscreen has been shattered also means that the atmosphere inside the vessel is now escaping. Your vector is completely ruined. You go into a massive deceleration. The cockpit door between where you are and where the crew quarters is immediately closes to maintain pressurization in the rest of the ship. So you are cut off from Misomi and Vec. Misomi and Vec, what do you wish to do?
Hang on.
Get the
Cowboy.
engines back on.
Did I raise the shields
No,
when the first harpoon went through?
no. The shields have not been raised, so the computer has shut the bulkhead door to prevent complete atmosphere loss from the rest of the ship. So the shields are down. You are now attached to 2 rocket cycles. Your engine is off, so you're on just the power core.
How far away would I be from Cowboy? Am I within 30 feet? I know there's wall in the way and whatnot.
Yeah, you're within 30 feet. So the chair that you were strapped in is 20 feet from the cockpit door. So
Okay.
what I've done is I've put the map back up on
Okay,
Twitch,
cool.
so you can take a look.
Okay, I will telepathically say, Cowboy. Cowboy, what's going on? You sound like door closed. Can we get out of here, please?
So there is no response.
I was just making up the response then, but okay, no response.
Just a response of, ow.
Well, I'll let you make a response because it is a telepathic communication. Go on.
So I'll reply. I think this cowboy's ridden his last rodeo. But remember what I always say: don't dig for water under the outhouse.
What?
Bye now.
The door to the cockpit has a porthole in it, so you can see in. It also has cameras, and there are screens in the lounge, so you can activate some of those cameras and try and see what's going on.
Okay, I will do that.
Okay. Vec, I'm going to switch to you now. So I'm to assume you're going to try and restart the engines.
Yep.
So in engineering, the controls that you have mimic those that are in the bridge area. So you can pilot the vessel from this location.
Okay. Do you need a I grab hold of the controls.
Yeah.
And try and organise them with my lack of opposable thumbs. Do you need a pilot check?
I need you to restart the engines first. So
Oh,
can you make
engineering
an engineering check, please?
Yeah. 22.
Yep, that is good enough. You manage to start the engines up. You get main power back, and so now you have again full control. It does mean you can power the emergency shields, which means you would be able to seal the cockpit off, and you would be able to put atmosphere back into there through that series of controls.
Yep.
So you can do that, or Misomi can do that from the main crew quarters. Your choice as to who does it. But you have engines, and you can pilot from engineering. You can't pilot from the crew lounge.
Okay. I'll pilot then, as Cowboy is indisposed.
Yep.
But I make you no promises.
Am I exposed to space as well? Not
Yes.
just like there's no air, but am I freezing up?
You are.
Am I frozen?
You are exposed to space, so yes, that is a rapid depressurization. So temperature will drop rapidly.
Yep. I've raised the force fields.
Okay. So you raise the force fields, and fortunately, by doing so, you cut the tethers to the rocket cycle, which is good because it means the goblins cannot now drag you to wherever they were going to take you, dismantle the ship, and all the rest of it. So that's a plus. The other plus is that Cowboy is now not exposed to space.
On ice.
That is a plus.
That is a plus.
Cryo freezing.
And you can now repressurize the cockpit. Misomi, what would you like to do?
Once I know the shields are up, force fields up, and it looks like the cockpit's been repressurized, I'd like to try and get in. I don't know if I'll be able to.
Okay, so the cockpit hasn't been repressurized yet.
Okay.
So what you can do is you can turn on the cockpit cameras. So if you want to do that, you don't need to make a check. It's just simple swipe command on the screen. So you get the main cockpit cameras up on the view screen in the lounge. What you can see is the two harpoons embedded into various parts of the ship, and the one on the lower part of the screen where the Cowboy is what has impaled Cowboy to the bulkhead to the rear of the cockpit. He's slumped, his form is pinned to the wall, he's slumped over, he is not moving. You can see frost around the eyes and the mouth. He looks in a bad way, obviously not just being impaled, but also because he's been exposed to space and there's been no atmosphere in that room for a few seconds. Atmosphere is starting to slowly seep back in as power has been restarted once the engines were restarted and the force field were raised. But curiously, what you notice is two things. Firstly, the Harpoon has struck a main power conduit in the back wall, and there is a lot of electricity sparking from the now severed cable that was on the end of the Harpoon and into the main computer consoles across the front of the bridge area. Secondly, just next to where Cowboy is, there's a door, and you've never been in the cockpit before, but you hadn't noticed it previously when you were looking into the cockpit when Cowboy was sat there when you first boarded the vessel. There is an alcove door that's slid open, and there is an emergency amber flashing light that's causing some shadows and some light to distort around the room and throw sort of wild, shadowy shapes of the Harpoons and Cowboy across the bridge. And out steps this sort of sinister-looking android, sort of as the shadows appear and disappear. He's almost in shadow, then in flame, then in shadow, then in flame, and he takes a few steps forward towards the prone form of Cowboy, and at this point the doors slide open because we've now pressurized the cockpit. What would you like to do?
I would like to rush in there to Cowboy.
Okay, so you rush into the room, and as you get there, you see this android figure reaching towards the Harpoon with an outstretched hand, and he sort of looks up at you and says,
Exterminate, exterminate.
And he touches the harpoon and grounds out the electricity, and both him, Cowboy, and the harpoon and most of the bridge short out as massive amounts of power from the power core through this conduit travel through the android's body and travel through Cowboy's remains, because Cowboy's clearly dead. There you see him up close, and short out into the computer terminals in the bridge. You're going to have to start the power core yet again, Veg, as the lights go out and you're now floating in space in pitch blackness.
I think Masomi's looking at the android going, what are you doing? What do you do? Why did you do that? What's going on? Who are you? I demand to know who you are.
15.
That's just enough. You manage to get the power core started. The lights come back on. The android is laying on the floor, having taken a massive shock of power. The computer terminals slowly blink to life. The android comes back from unconsciousness, rebooting itself almost, and sits up. And Dave, if you'd like to describe yourself and introduce yourself.
Yeah, this is an android. It is looks pretty battered at the moment. Doesn't really have a name as such. It's kind of a bit bewildered as it looks around. You can see there it is, slightly rusted in places. But no other details. That's pretty much all it is. And it looks to you and it says, "Oh, I'm sorry. I didn't mean exterminate. I meant emergency. Emergency."
Yes, you really do need to get those two correct because they're very different things and one might get killed. Who are you?
I'm afraid this being has something that shouldn't be there. Would you like me to remove it?
This being has what, sorry?
This being is being probed. Would you like me to remove the probe?
Yes, what do you mean by probe?
And he reaches down and yanks out the harpoon.
Yep.
Cowboy's now lifeless form slips to the floor and lays prone. As I said, he is clearly dead, but if you want to make a medicine check to confirm that, you can.
I don't think that's necessary. He's had a harpoon through him. I think she'll just assume. Beck?
What's happening up there? I heard an odd voice.
Yeah, bad news. Cowboy has sadly met his end. He flew valiantly, but unfortunately he was harpooned in the chest. But there seemed to have been a stowaway. There was an android on board.
So Cowboy's dead.
Cowboy's dead.
What's happened to his hat?
Is his hat still there?
Yeah, it is. It is still there. But fun enough, the android has a bit of a hankering.
Hat hankering.
Almost to reach down and pick it up and place it upon his own head, if he wishes to do so.
Yeah, okay. The robot can do that.
I think the hat's been taken.
Are you all right up there?
Can I take a gun as well?
If you
If we're not
wish.
going to rob the body,
Just
can I take a
strip
gun?
the body.
So I'll let you have the hat. Stop looting the body. This is my friend.
Okay,
How do
you
get
are
to
you are still drifting in space. The engines are on, the power is on, but
Okay.
no one is at the helm.
Do we have an autopilot?
The computer hasn't fully booted up yet.
Okay.
Vec, can you get us moving?
I think I can. Yeah. I think I can.
I'm sure you can. You're very good at these kind of things.
So pilot check. 18.
18's okay. Yeah, you resume your original trajectory towards the moonlet. The goblin cycles you can see on the external cameras, because now you don't have a view outside through the windows, are still circling you, but with the force field in place, they can't quite get a purchase with their harpoons anymore. So you can head off and land on the moon if you wish.
Okay. Yeah. Let's do that, and then we can deal with this whole situation.
Okay, so you pilot for a couple of minutes. The rocket cycles are still following you. I guess they're going to try and wait maybe to board you manually. They do get into close proximity. The onboard computer eventually comes back to life, and Vec, you lose complete control of piloting, and all of a sudden the ship flies itself into a series of barrel rolls and showy evasive maneuvers. It flies close to some of the asteroids. It heads away from the moonlet you was heading towards, and instead decides to go back into the thickest part of the meteorite field. Its flying is so precise it reminds you almost of your friend Cowboy.
Vec, is that you piloting? You're very good.
There is silence from the computer, but on the screen, almost in 8-bit pixel type graphics, is a pistol and a Stetson appears. As it flies off into the thickest part of the meteorites, the goblins attempt to follow, eventually failing or giving up, you don't know which. You lose the pursuit. And you find somewhere to hide and wait out and wait for help to appear in the form of edge core security. It's not long, it's a few hours. The attack on a heavy haul vehicle and the loss of a lot of cargo means that Edge Core would react very quickly. They would recover both their personnel and whatever they can of the goods that the goblins hauled away, although most of it was destroyed when the captain decided to self-destruct the ship rather than allow whatever was on board to be stolen. They recover your vessel. They provide you with medical assistance should you need it, although Cowboy is long beyond that help. Tarika isn't. They treat her wounds, they bring her back to life, and she comes round and thanks you profusely, and you are towed back to the nearest Edge Core outpost. You're given bed rest, you're given expenses, you have a few days living way beyond what you're normally used to for, maintenance crew on a heavy haul vessel. You eventually meet with some Edge Core, I guess, management types, some corporate dudes. They offer you compensation. That compensation is the BD 514 for you to own and operate as independent free traders, if you wish to take it. They will give you work, you will make some coin, and the incentive, or to incentivise it even further, should we say, is that it will be lease free for the first 6 months. So any money you make in those first 6 months will be yours to keep. This is a pretty good opportunity to do some trading, pay off the suppliers, and pocket whatever is left. This is way beyond what the owners of this ship would have originally got, where they would have had to have paid half of their profit to Edgecore in order to pay off the lease. This is a good prospect, and yours to decide whether you want to take it or not, but this is a pretty sweet deal, and it certainly gets you away from maintaining something else. You can be captains, you can be independent traders, you can be your own bosses. And if you guess correctly, somehow BD514 now houses not necessarily soul or the mind, but possibly the spirit of your departed friend Cowboy. So, what do you want to do? Accept the offer or not?
What do you think?
I'm for it. How about you, Beck?
I'm for it. If it keeps the memory of Cowboy alive, and it means that some other people aren't flying him around in space.
Can't have that. Is the android part of this?
The android is an independent sentient being, so he can decide for himself, yes.
Okay.
How about you? I can't keep calling you android. What's your name?
I won't keep using the digital voice thing because it gets annoying. It's really hard on the throat. I have no name. What would you like to call me?
What do you want to be called?
I asked first.
I can't name you.
Oh,
I did ask first. Did I not?
how about Cowboy? You are attached to that hat.
I do like that hat. Cowboy seems good.
Yeah, it suits you and the hat.
Thank you. I like that hat.
Yeah.
And so you accept the offer. The deeds to the BD514 or the lease agreement is signed over to you. You may rename the vessel as you see fit. I don't know if you have a name of the vessel at the moment or not. If not, that is your homework before next week's episode.
Boss.
Boss, yeah.
It was going to be Starbuck, but now it's Boss.
Boss.
Boss it is. So you're now the proud owner operators of Boss. You each need to decide on what roles you will fulfill if they're not completely obvious from the class selections that you've already made. He
Can
says,
I
looking
have-
specifically at the engineer.
Can I have the controls less thummy?
Yes, we'll make that part of our deal.
Yes.
Modifications.
Yeah.
Honestly, it's appalling in this day and age that they don't make these kind of
Is-
adjustments.
Is, you know.
So you will each have an assigned role on the vessel, and we can talk about that separately, and then we can talk about that next week when we play. We're going to wrap up session now, but you are now free independent traders in the Pact worlds and the near space, and next week we will be starting the adventure proper along with our guest. So we will see what lies in front of us after your 6 months of toil and first foray into the world of trading is over, and then we start getting into the fly free or die adventure path.
Hey,
In 6 months' time, we'll be millionaires.
have proper armor.
So
The
we will
spotless things that you don't.
we will wrap it up there. Thank you for tuning in. Thanks for joining us. I hope you enjoyed that. It was a little session 0 just to get to know the characters, have a little bit of a scenario, just see how they perform, what their abilities are, how they do under pressure, before we get into the adventure proper next week. So we'll be back again next week. We will have our guest with us, and same time, same place. Thanks again for watching. Thank you to Beetle and Grims again for sponsoring this channel and allowing us to continue making content. Tomorrow evening we have Joe back with the second episode of Avernus. So please tune in for that and watch him take his players into hell, literally. There's a wide range of characters, and of course Cork from our Tomb of Annihilation game is making another planar appearance in another version of himself, and Jeff from our Runelords game, who plays Tulkas, will be playing Wukong in that, so there's a couple of familiar faces there. And then on Sunday is War Badger. On Monday we have the Great British Brush Off. Tuesday is Vason. And then Thursday we are on for Runelords again. So yeah, busy week next week. So we will wrap it up there. Have a good evening, have a good weekend, and bye-bye.
Bye.
See you
Bye.
later. Bye. Bye bye.